Hi guys, it's Djibuchi from SuperBooth18 in Berlin. I'm here with Paul Soulsby, who will show us the ATX range.
This is the ATX range, was the new range of synthesizers from Soulsby Synthesizers. It's moving on from the Atmultitron, which was the first synth we launched in 2014. Then we moved on to the modular range, which is the Ossitron here. The Atmultitrons are now finished, so we're creating, rather than just a direct replacement, we're creating a whole range. There will be a keyboard synth, the Atmultitron 2 here, there'll be Eurorack modules, all continuing the Atmega sound, 8-bit sort of bit chip tuney sound, but also adding whole new elements, better ways to control the unit, analog elements, new interfaces, like moving it on like light years basically. The main thing that sets the Atmultitron range apart is the ability to upload different software. So at the moment what we're looking is an early prototype where this is really just set up as a very basic polysynth, 8-voice polysynth, and it's you can get a feel for the sound. These voice cards here can be updated to have any firmware. The firmware will be stored on the micro SD here. So you could actually have 4 voices of synth, maybe 2 of drums and 1 with a bass, Odditron bass, and 1 with a string machine, for instance.
Right, are there separate outputs?
All separate outputs if you want, either on the mini jacks here. Also got the Dirtford multi-core system here, so you could go into a Eurorack multi-core system. So we've got all the separate ins and outs for every single sound card. The other main thing that we've added to the keyboard version is a whole analog section. So we've got the classic Atmultitron digital filters here. But we now also have the analog filters. These are CM3320 based filters, using a similar design to the Elka Synthex, which is a multi-mode analog filter. There's actually technically 16 permutations, only some of them produce sound. I'm going to sort of try and make as many of those available as possible. You can hear sort of one of the more standard ones. Nice resonance. Depending on the combination you use, you know, some of the resonance is quite soft. You've got quite soft slopes. You've also got really howling resonance combinations as well. Yeah, there's lots of areas that are still yet to be developed. We're really looking at a very, very early prototype that is under digital control. I'm yet to test if we've got enough to create a perfectly keyboard tracked resonance. There's going to be some kind of keyboard tracking, I just don't know what yet. And the same with this VCA, there's 8 analog VCAs here, also under digital control. Again, they're yet to be developed. They'll have an LFO and an envelope, as will their VCFs, on every single channel, all independently controllable. And this also has a FV1 effects processor that is a kind of open source, hackable effects processor with the idea that you can put effects on the micro SD, upload them. There'll be lots of, you know, open free ones to just do, but if you're into programming the chip, you can also do it that way as well. So yeah, that's at the moment we're just hitting a simple reverb. There's a bank of inbuilt effects which I'm using just for demo purposes. And that's like a chorus. These are just the inbuilt sounds. And then this is the control area here. And this basically allows you control of every single element, the voice cards, the mixer and effects and the filters, and also the routing of the joystick and keyboard and everything. The way the voice cards will be split up, will be using the MPE expressive MIDI format, which has now become an industry standard. It's a very sort of elegant way to split up 8 voice cards into multiple instruments, and also have per note expressiveness. So if you wanted to stick in, you know, a Roly product, you could, and you'd have per note control over every element of the sound. There's also possibilities of having a touch keys upgrade to the keyboards, which should also give you the MPE per note control of the sound. So the aim eventually is to make it as fully MPE compatible as I can. I was looking for a communication method where I could speak to all of these and assign different zones as it is to the areas of the different instruments. I was just like, oh look, this already exists, let's use it. It's very early days, so I never quite know whether I've just programmed it wrong or if something else is happening. Yeah, you'll be able to save to micro SD, and that includes all sorts of things. The micro SD will be very central to this, loading wavetables in, loading firmware in, loading sequencers. It's going to have a performance sequencer built in that allows you to, it will be based around live performance, based around little clips that can be sequenced and sent to different voice cards, and then you do manipulations like, you know, retrogrades and inversions and things to those clips. The idea that you could have a slowly morphing performance where all the different voices are inheriting different elements of the sequences over time. This is all aimed for a sort of a launch at Synthfest UK in October. Obviously I'll be demoing that stuff then. The synth won't be available then. I'm hoping to do the pre-orders then, and it will be a launch of the product, so you'll see the full feature set. This is really just the most basic setup here.
So do you have any idea about the price point yet, or is it too early to say?
I mean, I know the price point of a prototype, it's a lot, but when you start to multiply up numbers, then it comes down to something more reasonable. So, but I don't want to actually give not until October. October it will come out.
Thanks, Paul, for showing us the Atmultitron. This video was a request by my patron Andrew. Thanks for supporting me. Dachi from SuperBooth18. Bye bye.
Bye bye.